As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. Also on the new KVNU mobile app.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Roof Rescue. A man was flown to the hospital after a snowmobile accident in the mountains east of Logan. The crash was reported around 10 o'clock this morning. According to emergency radio communications, the man was riding with a group in the Peterson Hollow area near the Idaho border when the crash occurred. Some of the other riders were able to put him onto another snowmobile and began transporting him out of the area. Cache County Sheriff's Lieutenant Tim Ramirez said search and rescue teams were dispatched to rendezvous with the group. The injured rider, reportedly in his 20s, had non-life-threatening injuries but was in a lot of pain. Ramirez said due to the location and the patient's condition, a medical helicopter was dispatched to the scene. It landed near the group and transported the injured rider to the hospital. KVNU News Time is 5:04. KVNU weather for tonight, becoming mostly cloudy, overnight low in the low 20s, and then cloudy tomorrow and high around 37. Increasing haze coming up Sunday, partly sunny and warmer, high around 43. Hazy sunshine around 43 on Monday. It's been to 38. It's 38 right now at KVNU. And KVNU weather brought to you by the Advocates. If you were not at fault, if you've been injured in a car, truck, or slip and fall accident, you need an advocate. Chat online at utahadvocates.com or call 801-355-5550.
Roof Rescue is your local roof specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. Former President Donald Trump, who is hoping to be the Republican presidential candidate in November's election, is planning to host a campaign event in Utah, according to a report from the Salt Lake Tribune. Utah Republican Party Chairman Rob Axson told the Tribune the campaign stop will be happening sometime in April. Additional details, including the specific date and location, are still being worked out. The planned Utah visit comes amid a primary challenge from former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who served in Trump's cabinet as ambassador to the United Nations. Axson told the Tribune that Haley is exploring a possible February campaign stop in Utah, though details on that event also have not been finalized. Axson said he hopes both Trump and Haley will come to Utah before the state's Republican presidential preference vote on March 5th. Trump last campaigned in Utah during the 2016 presidential election. Utah's Republicans will make a decision on who the candidate will be during a caucus on Super Tuesday. And the suspect of a domestic violence incident was shot and killed by police following an hours-long SWAT standoff in Elko, Nevada. Authorities from the Elko Police Department said that this investigation began at 5 p.m. Wednesday when an officer heard of a woman who was struck by a man inside of a vehicle in what was determined to be a domestic violence incident. The officer responded to the incident and tried to intervene, but officials said that the suspect, identified as James Ryan, pushed the woman from the car. Ryan reportedly tried to flee and nearly struck the officer in the process, prompting a pursuit. At one point, police said that Ryan took out a rifle and pointed it at officers, at which point the SWAT team and crisis negotiations team were called onto the scene. After several hours of negotiations, officers said that Ryan exited his vehicle and was shot and killed by members of the SWAT team. The involved officers were placed on administrative leave pursuant to the officer-involved critical incident protocol. Washoe County, Reno, and Sparks investigators are working to analyze the incident. Following the investigation, the case will be turned over to the District Attorney's Office for review. KVNU News Time is 5:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Hello, Cache Valley. This is Tom Hale at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly I.S.S. Remember, got a mess? Call I.S.S. We want to let you know that here at Blue Sky, we still have the same great staff, we provide the same excellent service, and are ready to help you in your time of need with water mitigation, mold remediation, or a fire. From Blue Sky Restoration, thank you for trusting our staff and myself for over 35 years with your disaster needs, and we will continue to be here for you.
Finding effective and affordable insurance solutions can be stressful. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As a kid growing up, my father, Gordon, took care of my insurance, and I knew I never needed to worry. I was covered. I've continued to provide that same service for my clients at Quality First. My team of experienced agents work hard to ensure every customer gets the help they need. Let's sit down and take the stress out of your insurance. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
With fresh snow comes fresh deals at Murdoch Hyundai. Make some fresh tracks to our winter sales event. Receive 0% for 3 years on a new Tucson or Santa Fe. Every new Hyundai comes with America's Best Warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and owner's assurance. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Hyundai, in Logan, Linden, and Murray, and online at murdochhyundai.com.
Call 866-628-3065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/31/24.
Are you in need of excellent surgical care? Budge Clinic General Surgery offers the future of surgery with state-of-the-art robotic-assisted procedures. From cancer treatments to surgical needs, they've got you covered. Call Budge Clinic General Surgery today, 435-716-1950, to schedule a consultation and experience the best possible outcome. Trust Doctors Anderson, Marshall, McKenna, and Peterson, the experts at Budge Clinic General Surgery, helping people live the healthiest lives possible.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
It's a new year and an opportunity to plan for the future. That's what we're doing here, the Cache Valley Media Group. We're in the middle of a significant upgrade in the technology we use to bring our community the best of local news, weather, sports, music, and entertainment. But in the process of doing that, we may encounter a few bumps in our programming along the way. We assure you, we're aware, and our team is working very hard to make our transition as seamless as possible. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening to this radio station. And from all of us at the Cache Valley Media Group, we hope you have a great 2024.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Thank you, Bill. For those just tuning in, I told a story at the end of hour one about so generally I find the algorithm thing creepy when you have a conversation with someone in Instagram or Facebook or listening on your phone in your pocket, and then all of a sudden you start getting ads for that on Instagram. It's kind of creepy to me. Maybe that dates me. I've heard from kids that it's not something they worry about. I don't really worry about it. It just makes me uncomfortable, and I think it should make everyone uncomfortable, at least to the point that whenever we're reminded of it, we go, But I mentioned that the music algorithm on some of my music streaming apps I really enjoy, and trying to figure out why one of them today served up the theme from Neverending Story, which I haven't seen that movie for years, if not decades. I did like it as a kid. I saw it at the Mann Theater when I was in grade school, I think is roughly when it would have happened. I was a fan. I've seen the sequel, not a fan. I didn't hate it as a kid. It's not great though, and I just have no idea. I can't think of a conversation that happened in my life recently. I can't think of anything I said or searched for, or in any way, remote way, could obviously be a reason that the music recommending algorithm was like, nah, I'll bet he'd like to hear this today. But that's what happened. So thanks, Bill, for queuing that one up. Have you seen the film? Oh, sorry. I thought I had. There we go. Try that again.
Long time ago.
Were you a fan?
I can't remember hardly anything about it. I'll have to go look for it again.
Big talking turtle, super fast snail, dog dragon thing, movie show guy complaining about the temperature in the studio. What else is in Neverending Story?
What in the world? It's like spring outside. I come in here and it's a sauna.
It's pretty warm.
Why didn't you tell me I would have worn? I have a new tank top.
Which reminds me, actually, I've been
got it at my Trump rally.
I've been Dan
McKay actually he sent it to me.
Oh, I have a correction. From here on out, he is referred to as Senator Dan McKay. Did you see the picture of him?
Yeah.
I asked him if that was okay, and he said it was all right if I did that on the show. So it's Dan McKay.
He's pretty sad that. Anyway, he's sad.
He's sad. There's going to be more than one sad lawmaker this session, I think.
You know what? If I was a politician and people were like, "You're terrible," I'd be like, "You know what? Comes with the territory." Actually, you know what? Being a movie boy is kind of like that same thing.
I was gonna say, does that same thing apply to like people piling on?
Here's what I'd say.
You're talking about when they pile on critics, not on movies.
Well, not on movies. Okay. But I'm sure if you let me say this. Here's what I'd say. I think it's perfectly fine to defend yourself. It's perfectly fine to, be basically to say, "Hey, I don't agree," right? But no one should ever be surprised. Right. I learned this early on when I was writing for the Utah Statesman, and I wrote a couple columns, and I got some feedback, both letters to the editor.
You got feedback.
And to my personal Gmail, because I put it on that. I said, Andy can be contacted at lordofthejazz@hotmail.com, which is not a thing anymore. Or Hotmail's still there, but I don't know. I should log into that. I don't even think I think I gave up that email address. I surrendered it. But anyway. The point is that I think the first time I got some feedback like that, I was like, "Oh, I thought everyone thought I was funny," right? and then here's the thing, and I mean this sincerely. I mean this sincerely. If someone is like, "You're an idiot," "You're a moron," whatever they say. Like, I genuinely do not care. And here's the reason why. I don't care. Because I'm comfortable with my opinions.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable in my skin. My favorite thing is on Twitter when I have an opinion and then somebody, usually some anonymous account with no picture and 3 followers, screenshots my profile picture and goes, "Really, from this guy?" And I'm like, I know what I look like. I picked it.
The coward's retort is what I call that.
Why would I care?
That's someone that isn't confident they'll be able to hold their own having an actual adult conversation with you to criticize you, so they do something like that instead.
And my thing is like, why do I care? Like, they always post it and I go, "This is not the own that you think it is."
It's a really fun response to that kind of thing. Go, haha, thanks. Can I see yours?
Yeah, right.
Funniest response, because no, they do not want you to say.
Nope, they don't.
Here's my thing on social media. This is very childish, but this is what I do. If it's someone I know, like I've got a friend troll.
Okay,
is what I would call this person. He works in the Attorney General's office. I've known him a long time. He's a very smart guy. We have very different politics, and he will.
Does he troll you?
He occasionally. He'll like comment on everything I say.
I troll you anytime the Muppets are trending.
And I have conversations with him because I know that he is sincere in his he's looking to spark a back and forth. He means it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm totally okay with that. What I like to do though is when it's some rando that you've never heard of or seen before.
That's the best word.
But you have a good idea of why they chose to come to your social media platform and comment on your thing. Because you see that you have maybe a mutual friend or that maybe they follow someone that you are aware of. Like, Manhattan or something like that.
Have you seen that guy's? Have you seen that guy's other accounts? He has this thing where he's like, "Look, if I can't put 2 H's in it, I'm not doing it."
Yeah. So he has like 9 accounts. Yeah.
Also, never
So
mind.
weird.
I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Like they'll come in and comment, and I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They want to get you to argue with them, and so what I like to do is block them, and then I have a burner account just for this reason. I go in and I watch them get mad about me blocking them. It is so fulfilling.
Yeah.
I recommend this to everyone. Instead of arguing with people on the internet who you don't know and will never meet, if it's a friend or a family member or you actually are enjoying the conversation, by all means, waste your time that way. I'm not above wasting time. But if it's some random person you will never meet or know and could care less about their opinion of you or their opinion of what you said, try it. Block them, and then find a way to see them being super mad about you blocking them. It is so fulfilling, and then you can just move on with your day.
Well, if I did something, if I had, I don't know.
Also, everyone should have a burner account. I don't know why everyone doesn't.
Hey, speaking of burner accounts, I need to make a burner account because actually I don't need to make a burner account for this take. You know me. We've been doing this show a long time.
Are you about to say something bad about the 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz?
No.
Okay.
No, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's in theaters.
Congratulations, Dorothy.
Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday only here in Cache Valley.
No,
digitally remastered for the 80th anniversary. But 2 shows on Sunday, 1 show Monday, 1 show Wednesday. That's it.
Well, here's a couple things we need to talk about. Just to give everybody,
I feel like you didn't care about that.
I do care.
I feel like you're not rushing.
We could
to buy your tickets to see the Wizard of Oz on the big screen.
We could spend a whole show talking about how when I was a child and Wizard of Oz would come on, every springtime I think is when it came on around Easter.
Give you nightmares.
The witch. It wasn't even the witch that scared me.
Flying monkeys for me.
Flying monkeys didn't scare me. You know what scared me?
Nightmares.
The scariest part in Wizard of Oz is when Dorothy's house gets taken up initially by the tornado, and you hear the and she looks out the window, and that creepy teacher's riding her bike
on the bike,
and then she turns into the witch. That scared me
really so
bad. But here's the reason why.
Interesting.
I've learned over the years that one of my fears is
tornadoes.
No.
School
teachers.
Teachers on bikes.
Actually, Jason, you've
trying to guess.
Knocked it out of the park. Teachers on bike. I never go to schools for this reason. I'm like, there's a teacher on a bike. Anyway, no, it's people like looking out of the window and seeing something you didn't like. Not like you look out the window and you're like, oh, look, a little child. I didn't expect that. Things like, you remember in the movie Signs when the girl wakes up and says, the daughter, and she says, there's a monster outside my window. Can I have a glass of water?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Mel Gibson comes in, and M. Night pulls the classic Steven Spielberg where, we have a cute little talk that's heartwarming. Then Mel Gibson looks up, and there's an alien on the barn. That's creepy. Stuff like that is creepy.
The little old lady stepping out onto her porch in Jeepers Creepers, looking out into her cornfield and then looking back at the kids and then very casually saying, that's not my scarecrow.
Yes.
That is one of the creepiest scenes in a horror movie ever.
Or another example would be Sinister, when Ethan Hawke is doing some research and he has that picture of the ghoul up.
Yes.
And he turns his head, but the picture that's on the laptop the head moves, and it's like
turns with him.
And he can't see it,
Yeah,
right?
because he's looking away.
It's in the bushes.
It's just so creepy.
No.
I love little things like that. That's sort of. By the way, I'll save this. I was going to run quickly. So whenever you're ready for it, I was going to run quickly through the films I saw at Sundance.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the 3 things, if we have time today, I want to give.
Remind me, there's a horror movie I want to tell you about.
Yeah, I want to.
I'm not recommending it. I want to tell you about it.
I want to
let
get
you choose.
Jason's Sundance recap. I'd like to touch on Oscars just a little bit because there's been some controversy coming out of that, which is, I think, should be there. And then 2. I did see a movie, we're a week behind because of Sundance last week. But there was a movie that released last week called I.S.S.
Yeah.
That
a horror movie set in the space station, right? Is that
not a horror movie, but
not okay.
Like a psychological thriller that just does not. Anyway.
Did you see this too? You can not here in Cache Valley, but in not in Ogden either. You'd have to go to Salt Lake. If you missed it or saw it and want to really see it in a different way, they've re-released Godzilla -1
in black and white.
I did, so that looks more like those old school Godzilla
that looks cool.
movies.
There's
but
also
you have to go to Salt Lake to see that.
They really Barbie is here back in theaters again.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. You
I
can
wondered
also
about
catch
that.
a couple other Oscar nominees.
Galaxy Quest 2, since it was filmed in Utah.
Yeah,
that's playing at the
Holdovers.
Providence.
Holdovers is back in theaters.
Very cool.
Highly recommend. And then Poor Things is playing, I think, over at the University Theater, which.
I'm still mad. I had a choice one night. I was going to watch Poor Things or Saltburn, and I watched Saltburn.
I would say if you go see Poor Things, you'll walk out of that going, well, I didn't think I was ready for my round 2 of Saltburn. Same thing. Same thing.
That's what somebody told me. Don't watch them both on the same night. It's too much.
I just want to go and
one.
watch people walk out of the theater. I just want to buy a ticket to watch that. What in the world?
That's funny.
I thought this was a sequel to Oliver. But I guess not. Guess I should read the description next time. Poor Things did not have to do with their economic status and love for porridge. This is too bad.
Do you want me to just get my Sundance lift over with quick? Because I can do it before we go to the news. Probably sooner than that.
No, I think we should do it after. I want to know some more. Here's what I'll say before we go to the news.
I'll just do this one first. How about this?
Sure.
Because you brought up the scary scenes in movies. And again, I'm not really recommending this one, but this is not just for Andy and I to discuss the films I saw, because I have some I want to run by you, and I want to talk to you after you've seen them. This is for everyone out there, but it got picked up. There's a slasher film coming. Shudder bought it.
Okay.
I don't know if they plan to put it in theaters. Shudder is like a subsidiary of AMC Networks. So it might make
and
its way
sometimes
onto,
they do make it, and then they stream them later.
Yeah, they put them on
Shudder
streaming
specific.
So I'm thinking this one doesn't make it to theaters, but will be available on a streaming service soon. But it's called In a Violent Nature. It's a very cliche slasher movie, Friday the 13th.
I think
Nightmare on Elm
I
Street.
saw this.
But
keep talking.
You are the killer.
What?
The camera is. You are
really.
Yeah.
I had not heard of that.
You were seeing everything from it. It was like I say, it was a really cliche. There was nothing original about the plot or the other characters or anything, but there was something about seeing that exact same movie, every Friday the 13th movie you've ever seen.
What? Tell me the name of it again.
In a Violent Nature.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a press release about this today. It is coming to Shudder.
Is it? Okay.
And it's coming to Shudder. I can tell you the date. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Senator.
Yeah, they actually don't have a date for it yet, but it is.
But soon.
Yeah. A minimalist horror film that's methodically depicts the resurrection and subsequent killing spree of a masked monster entirely from the perspective of the slasher.
But and I read that and thought, well, that would be interesting. But what I missed, I didn't understand, is it's like, remember, this is a bad comparison because it was a horrible movie. This isn't that bad, but remember the video game movie, I can't remember what it's called now, where you're seeing it from his eyes.
Are you talking about Doom?
No, kind of, but there was one called, it was a man's name, Hector something. I can't remember now.
No, I know what you're talking about.
But it's that. The camera is, from the killer's point of view, you're seeing through the killer's eye, the slasher's eyes. So it's not original in plot. The acting is exactly what you'd expect in a Friday the 13th remake. Friday the 13th, what are we on, 21 now? It's exactly what you expect. So don't go for,
Was that at an after Sundance After Dark kind of thing?
Yeah, it was a midnight movie. But it was a really, if you've seen, if you're a fan of these schlocky horror films, Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm trying to think of others, go see this because
put that on your calendar. It
makes it a really different thing.
Interesting.
And it actually kind of brings out some now this isn't one of those, I sympathize with the slasher kind of. No, it's not like that. This is very much a slasher film with all the cliche elements. All the tropes are there, including the slasher's a bad guy, but you're the slasher. But it's just a really unique way of telling the same story that's been done to death.
Interesting.
So yeah, watch for that one. Really quick, the other ones. Well, I'll wait.
Hey, let me tell you this really quick.
Did you see the White Lotus news? Because I know you like.
I saw some casting, but I don't think I can remember what it was.
Delayed to 2025.
That's not too bad.
They're film. They were delayed by the writer's strike,
right?
And then
a lot of stuff.
They were delayed by weather in Thailand.
Do you think
filming in Thailand?
Do you think Hollywood is like, man, COVID?
Yeah,
and then strikers,
and then yeah. I mean, it's
really
been a couple of years.
Yeah.
Of delays but yeah, they said that between the writer's strike, which they wanted to delay out of respect and solidarity for the writers,
makes sense.
Because he, of course, is a writer. The director of White Lotus, the creator of White Lotus, is a writer himself. So, of course, he was on board. So they delayed because of the writer's strike. They'd cast, but they hadn't started production. And then when they were about to start production after the writer's strike ended in November, the weather in Thailand turned against them. Not in a bad way. Like, apparently it was great weather for tourists, but it wasn't the weather they wanted.
Right.
It was very unseasonable weather for Thailand. So they had to wait. So they just started production this week. And so there was an Elle article with Mike White saying that we've decided to delay season 3 until and spoiler alert, I'm going to pause for those who haven't seen it. Well, I'll just say this. Spoiler alert, she is dead. I'll just leave it at that. Everybody who has seen it knows what I'm talking about. Because everyone's been hoping.
Jason, that's disappointing news.
Everyone's been hoping that that's not the case. But he confirmed it. He said, no, they said, will she be coming back in season 3? And he said, no, she's dead.
If that was a bullseye, how close did I get?
Pretty close. I was impressed, actually.
3 rings outside of the nailing it.
He did confirm, though, that it was a concussion.
Oh, gosh, Jason. Can't do it. I'm sorry. So you're like, shut up. I'm trying to talk.
Stop it. And I can actually wrap up my Sundance recommendations really quick. The only other one I have for you to see, and I've already told listeners about this. I told them Wednesday when I was back, but watch for Porcelain Wars.
Porcelain Wars.
And if you read about it now, you're going to think...
is it about toilets?
Nope. It's about Ukraine.
You know what?
But the description...
Can we go back in time like 30 seconds so I don't say, is it about toilets?
No. It's about Ukraine, but you read the description and you'll have the same reaction I did, having been to Sundance a lot yourself.
Yeah,
you'll have the same reaction I did, which is like could be interesting. Also sounds really pretentious. I think I'll skip that one because
I think
it's about artists in Ukraine, and I'm like,
I think I am going to go back next year.
But you should watch this one.
By the way,
it's a married couple. He makes porcelain figurines. She paints them. That's how they've made their money.
It's a documentary.
And but the way it's made is so cool. This BBC cinematographer on assignment from BBC goes over to Ukraine. He's just filming footage.
Yeah.
Meets this couple. Hears their story. Calls his boss back in London and said, I want to give them my equipment. And his boss said, why not? So they leave in January 2022. They leave all of their filming equipment with this random married couple.
Before the war starts.
Right after. It had literally just started. It had only been going on about a month, I think. And or 2 months. And he leaves all this equipment with them. And in August of this year, 2023, so a year and a few months later, they call him and they say, we think we've got something. They bring him over to Sundance Labs here in Utah, and they edit this footage into a movie for the film festival this year. And it's basically the story of this couple and how they're still trying to live, but how they've turned from, and how their fellow artists in this little farming community they live in outside of Beirut. The film starts with them walking up out of this beautiful field. There's sunflowers. They've been photographing dandelions and butterflies and everything you'd expect in a pretentious art movie. And
elves.
And their dogs with them, their little yappy dog. And they walk up this hill, who I met. He was at the premiere, but his name's Frodo. But they walk up this hill. They walk up this beautiful hill, and you're sitting there thinking, man, Ukraine is beautiful. And they walk up this hill headed home, and behind, so you see their home that looks almost like a scene out of The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
And then 10 miles away, this city on fire because of the war. And it's this movie, this documentary, chock full of those contrasts.
Sounds really
There's one scene
moving
that shows her painting the little porcelain figurines in these fine patterns. It's beautiful. And then some narrative thing happens with the voiceover, and it transitions to a scene of her in her civilian, in her military gear. They're civilian soldiers. They volunteered for the army, and they've been trained a little bit. But it transitions to her in her military gear, her helmet, her glasses, and she's operating a drone. And she drops a flashbang into the open hatch of a Russian tank full of men. You can see them hanging out the windows and everything. Sets the entire thing on fire, killing everyone inside. And then it transitions back to her and her husband
Painting.
talking about their art.
Wow.
And it does that.
That sounds amazing.
It really was one of the most. I still can't think of the word to use.
Let's put a little bookmark on that, because I bet you money
it was
will be
picked up.
Just based on what you're telling me, that sounds like something that could be a potential, best documentary Oscar next year.
It was really, honestly, it was one of the more unique ways to tell a story, and I still don't know how to describe it. I thought striking, speechless, but none of them really get it. I don't know what to say.
No, I can tell just the way you're talking about it how much you enjoyed it.
I don't really know what to say about the experience. I've never seen anything that bounced back and forth between two
that's very cool
disparate things. And but anyway,
I don't.
So
by the way,
there's my Sundance review. I saw other good stuff, but those are the two.
My thing with Sundance that usually happens with me is that I see so many movies during the year, and then we have our voting, and then I'm usually burned out.
Yeah.
But next year we talked about this as the Film Critics Group. Is the other thing too is it's like you've got transportation. Where do you stay? Right.
Yeah.
So I think next year a group of the film critics we're going to get like a Airbnb kind of thing.
They really should,
and just
go up there and go.
Well, no, and anyone that is going to Sundance can pay, or whatever, and we'll all kind of room together.
I think it's a good idea because it's one rumor though. We'll know that tomorrow. Rumor is they're going to shut the Eccles Theater down.
Oh, interesting. I love Sundance.
I don't know where they'll put everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot fewer seats and screenings if they do that. But
no, I do.
But no,
I love it. I think it's cool that you go.
And but yeah, those are my two top. Dee Dee is also good.
Noted.
But I'll tell you about that in the break. And that's my quick Sundance review. And then we'll be back with more of Andy Morgan on the For the People movie show after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. A 34-year-old Franklin, Idaho man died following a two-vehicle crash early this morning in Richmond. The accident was reported just after 6:30 a.m. near Lauer Foods. Utah Highway Patrol Sergeant Cade Brenchley said a farmer was driving a large truck and trailer loaded with half-ton hay bales. The driver turned right onto US 91 to head southbound, making a wide turn into the inside lane, and then began merging into the outside lane when he was hit from behind by a Ford Taurus.
The driver of the Ford Taurus not wearing a seatbelt, and they were still working on him and transported him to the hospital, but he actually passed away prior to arriving to the hospital.
Troopers report the victim was the only occupant in the car. His identity is not being released pending notification of family. Brenchley said the farm truck was only going around 15 miles per hour with its emergency lights flashing when the crash occurred. It was still dark at the time, but the roads were clear. Troopers are looking at whether the driver of the Taurus was speeding or may have been distracted and didn't see the truck.
A couple people have said that car passed them at a high rate of speed. Speed limit's 45. We don't know the exact speed, but we're hoping to figure that out.
The driver of the truck was not injured. Traffic along US 91 was blocked for several hours as troopers investigated the crash. In the summers and affecting years-spanning drama about a complicated parent-child relationship nabbed the Grand Jury Prize at the 40th Sundance Film Festival in Park City, while the top honor for documentary went to Porcelain War, about a Ukrainian couple who craft fragile, intricately painted ceramics while war wages around them. Suho, about an orphan boy trying to escape the grip of Mexican cartel violence, took the Grand Jury Prize for World Dramatic Cinema. A New Kind of Wilderness, about a Norwegian family living off the grid, won the jury award for World Documentary. The festival award, voted on by audiences, went to Daughters, a moving documentary following four girls as they prepare for a special daddy-daughter dance with their imprisoned fathers. And Lauri Markkanen scored 29 points, and the Utah Jazz beat Washington 123-108 Thursday night, spoiling Brian Keefe's debut as interim coach after Wes Unseld Jr. was moved to the Wizards' front office. The Wizards announced earlier in the day that Unseld was out as coach midway through his third season with the team. KVNU weather for tonight: increasing clouds, low in the low 20s, and then mostly cloudy, around 37 for the high tomorrow. Hazy conditions, partly sunny on Sunday, high in the low 40s, around 43. It was 39 today. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry from minor repairs to complete roof replacement. RoofRescueUSA.com is their site. Call 435-999-4268. You can get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
This is a special report from ABC News. Trump defamation damages. I'm Chuck Sievertson. A former U.S. president previously found by a jury to have sexually assaulted and defamed a woman is ordered by another jury to pay E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million in damages. Mr. Trump says he'll appeal. Outside federal court in New York, Trump attorney Alina Habba.
I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this. Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York.
ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer.
If he appeals his case, he has about 30 to 35 days to do so. Then there's briefs, there's oral arguments. If he loses the appeal, he might have to put money aside. He can't just say, I'm not going to pay anything during this appeal.
Brian Buckmeyer, this is ABC News.
It's winter, and the last thing you're thinking about is yard work. But did you know now is actually the best time to trim your trees? Hey, it's Chelsea with Whole Tree Care, and I'm not suggesting you get out there and do it. Call us. Our guys climb trees year-round. And now that leaves are gone, visibility is perfect for trimming. Plus, your trees are dormant, so it's less stressful on your trees. Call 760-6587. If you have any overgrown trees, call before heavy snow causes damage. Whole Tree Care. That's HULL Tree Care. 760-6587.
This is Ryan and Travis, owners of My Mattress. North and South Logan locations. Mattress Wars, brother versus brother, store versus store. The Valley loves something new, so my store, the North Store, will win. The South Store's been here for 14 years. My store will win. The North Store has more purple mattresses. The South Store has more Tempur-Pedics. The North Store has closeout deals up to 70% off. Both stores have that. Plus, I'm the older brother. So if my store wins, everyone gets a free pillow. Mine too. Mattress Wars at My Mattress.
Imagine driving home, a peaceful evening shattered by a chunk of ice that falls off from another vehicle, leaving your windshield shattered and your arm broken. That's what happened to my neighbor Jim. Insurance and the other driver were no support. It's a tough situation, but I told him to reach out to the Advocates. They've got your back. No upfront costs to find out if you have a case. If you've been hurt in an accident that's not your fault, don't hesitate. Chat with the Advocates at UtahAdvocates.com or call 801-355-5550. Now with offices in Logan.
Trust this kid any further than I can throw him.
Well, with your bad knee, Ed, you shouldn't throw anybody.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan joining us. And not a lot of new stuff in theaters.
No.
Oops, sorry. Oscar buzz coming up, though, right?
Yeah. So Oscar nominations were released earlier this week, and there was some controversy that we should probably...
Dun-dun.
Let me go to the official Academy Award page, and I will. We can kind of talk about it. So the big...
That's something only a movie critic would do, or even know about.
Well, here's the thing. So I actually agreed. I would say this is the first time in a while where I looked through all the nominations, and I went, okay. I pretty much almost... I would say I'm 90%, and here's the 10% why I'm not, is... I really feel like
the 10% you would have
this is where the Oscar voters got it wrong. They got two things wrong. One, not nominating Greta Gerwig for director for Barbie was a miss.
While I'm a defender of Ken getting the nomination, because if you really think about it, the movie was kind of about Ken.
Yeah, I'm fine with Ryan Gosling.
And he deserved it. But, yeah, she deserved it.
Well, Margot Robbie...
As director.
Yeah, Margot Robbie should have been also nominated for Best Actress, because I know she, people I've seen she's just a pretty face. She didn't really act. Nah, She acted. She was really. She was
good.
really. I mean, think of this as Harley Quinn, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's great. The one that, and everyone's like, "Well, who would you take out?" And I'm like, Annette Bening for Naiad in a minute. I wouldn't even blink.
She's just Annette Bening.
It's just. I mean,
it's good, but it's just Annette Bening.
Yeah,
it's nothing special.
And in fact, when I got done with that, I thought if I was going to do anything, I mean, that movie, there's nothing else. It's not even on the radar.
I wasn't
anywhere.
I wasn't wowed by that movie like so many more.
No, Lily Gladstone needs to be nominated. She was in there. Sandra Hüller is where, and then Carey Mulligan, fantastic, and Emma Stone. I thought all of it was great except for Margot Robbie. And then when we go back to directing, right? People are like, "Well, who would you take out?" Right? And honestly, I would probably take out. This is a tough one because you've got Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Take him out.
That's honestly who I was leaning towards. He wasn't in my. I think he was at the bottom of my top 5. Really, top 5 or 6.
I really like that movie. Not his best, and not.
No,
an Oscar-winning movie from a directorial standpoint.
Now it's fine for like a Best Picture nominee.
It's
I
a
agree.
great movie, but that's not what his directing isn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Even for him, that was pretty phoned in.
Well, and here are the nominees, Jason. Here are the nominees for Best Picture.
I wish I had that Oscar music.
You've got American Fiction, which I think is deserved. Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie. The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Every one of those, amazing movies.
Do you know what, though? Honestly, and I'm saying this as Oppenheimer is one of my top movies of the year, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it deserves to be on the list.
What would you replace it with?
I'm not sure what I'd replace it with. I think that spot should... I think there were other things that stood out more.
I
thought Oppenheimer was a very
if you'd asked me that back in July, I would have probably agreed with you.
Mediocre for Chris Nolan movie. But then a friend said, "But is it mediocre for Chris Nolan still a great film?" And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough."
I would say it's one of his best movies. I think Christopher Nolan's personal best is Interstellar. That's my and this is coming from somebody
still
that loves
The Dark Knight for me.
No. And what I was going to say was, I love The Dark Knight. Like,
I just think that movie, from a filmmaking point of view, that movie is mind-blowingly good.
No, it is, and I'm going back to what you said a minute ago. Is Christopher Nolan to me is a lot like, and I'm going to use this. This is probably not the best example, but I'm going to do it anyway. It is like Pixar when. Kind of Pixar was riding its golden age is like they come up with something like Cars or something that maybe you don't think is the greatest, but it still nails it, right? Because it's just it's when you set the bar super high, right? Everyone's kind of expecting you to keep hitting that bar,
and that's fair. And for Christopher Nolan and Scorsese too.
I don't know. I've rewatched Oppenheimer a couple times. I wanted to see what the 4K Blu-ray would look like, and
how does it look?
It's If you've got a 4K TV, where you're getting 120 hertz, and you've got 4K Blu-ray player, and you pop that in, it's the same thing with like Top Gun Maverick or Mission Impossible, or what looks even better too is any of the new Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies.
Oh right, yeah.
It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible.
That's very cool.
But I watched it, and what I thought about was all the moving pieces in that movie, all the characters, and the amount of material. I mean, if anyone's seen the book American Prometheus, I mean, it's like the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And to take that and condense that down to just even a 3-hour movie.
I think it's like a 33-hour long audiobook.
Yeah, it's long. It's super long.
For perspective, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich is a 44-hour long audiobook.
No, I thought it was. I think it's deserved. If you'd asked me, like I said, when I came out of it in July, I kept thinking, this is kind of long. It's a little bit of a slog. But I have a different opinion.
Maybe I'm just being contrarian. I just feel
it's
like
okay.
I just feel like it was. I feel like it was a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
Right.
Definitely for the year, but even beyond that, I just don't know that it was Oscar-winning.
What I would say,
content,
just to counter that, and again, this is not me, because I agree with you. This is not me saying you're wrong or anything. This is more of, I just honestly don't know what you'd replace it with, Jason.
And that's fair.
I think it's in my opinion, it's the bottom of the top movies in that thing. I think there's.
Yeah. And I think that's how I was looking at it. I saw that list and thought, oh, if Oppenheimer takes that, I'm going to be so mad.
I think
a lot of those other films are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
feel the same way if Killers of the Flower Moon did too.
Yeah, right. I would say that
also a great movie, but
I would say your two favorites right now are probably Oppenheimer, or the other favorite is Past Lives.
Yeah.
I think anything else. I think the two dark horses that could maybe upset it. I think The Holdovers has a chance, but I doubt it. It's a very, very far outside chance. The other one that could potentially do it as well is not Killers of the Flower Moon, but oh shoot, I said Oppenheimer. Why can't I think of what the? Sorry. The Holdovers has a real, I think, an outside chance as well. That and Poor Things could be there too, potentially.
Maybe.
Poor Things is so weird though that a lot of times Oscar is fine with honoring a weird movie, but they're not fine with giving the trophy to a super weird movie.
The nomination is the award.
Yeah, the nomination is
you're not going to
hey,
win.
Way to go, guys. That was really crazy, but no, and in terms of Best Picture, it could win other things like Best Actress. I think Emma Stone probably has the nod right now.
That's a good thing to bring up because I object to Oppenheimer there in Best Picture, mainly because I'm afraid it's going to win, and I think some of those other films deserve it more.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of Cillian Murphy sweeping Best Actor because that was amazing.
Yeah, I have a hard time.
I don't think he will. I think Paul Giamatti has a chance.
I think
Bradley
it's a
Cooper
two-man
too.
race. I think it's between Cillian Murphy and is it Cillian or Killian? Cillian Murphy.
I think it's Killian, but Cillian would make more sense. Really.
It's Cillian Murphy and then Paul Giamatti. I think those are the two. And I actually feel really bad for Bradley Cooper because Bradley Cooper pretty much knocked it out of the park in Maestro. You know who I would love to see? I think the Best Supporting Actor award is Robert Downey Jr.'s to lose. And if he gets it, I think he deserves it.
I'd like to see him take one.
But I cannot stress enough if you haven't seen American Fiction, Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction is just gold.
Best part of the movie.
If you know him in other things, right?
Yeah,
it's such a change for him. Again, I think actress is Emma Stone's to lose, but I wouldn't mind seeing Lily Gladstone. I think she's very deserving. Supporting role, if this does not go to Divine Joy Randolph, then there literally is no justice in the world because she is so great in The Holdovers. She is the emotional anchor of that entire movie.
Oh.
That was another one I was also going to say is that I felt bad that I can't think of his name, but his first movie was The Holdovers, and I thought he deserved a nomination.
Oh, the kid.
And he did not.
What was his name? Yeah, because he, without him, I don't know that Paul Giamatti stands out the way he did. I mean, it was definitely the two of them working together. And
I'm going to say this too. Since we're playing contrarian things today, I'm going to throw out my contrarian opinion. Is the one person that does not belong in actor in a supporting role is Ryan Gosling. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not saying I'm fine with him being there because I think if you said, Andy, give me the top 10 supporting actor performances of the year, I would say
probably be on there.
He's on there for sure. But he is like outside of the lines just a little bit to me because to me that's not a stretch of Ryan Gosling. It's Ryan Gosling with bleach blonde hair, his tanned abs, and he's just playing a doofus.
Saying beach a lot.
And really, what's the strength behind that? It's not his acting. It's Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach's writing.
Yeah, it's his lines. Yeah,
yeah. So
that's
if somebody said, well, if you take Ryan Gosling out, you can't have Margot Robbie be as a best actress, I'd say okay, I'm fine with that. Because again, the real strength of the Barbie movie is the writing. And just the overall flow of the film.
That's and also the reason it gets a nod for the best original song nomination too.
Did they have two? I didn't notice because I know Billie Eilish had that.
Yeah,
hers was nominated.
Technically two songs from the Barbie soundtrack, but one's written by Billie Eilish,
and then Just Ken,
and then the song from the film itself, I'm Just Ken, which was written by Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt.
Yeah, I hope that Billie Eilish, that song chokes me up. It was
a good song.
It is a good song,
and it was one of the biggest movie tied-in hits of the year.
Here's one for you. What would you be surprised? I wouldn't be surprised if Barbie won production design. You know what I love about this? I watched Barbie again.
Beautiful movie
this week on HBO Max just for the heck of it. And anybody that had sisters playing with Barbies, and I was like, I didn't like one thing. If you were a guy and you were like into like G.I. Joes or whatever you played with when you were little, unless you had
dude dolls,
unless you had like the G.I. Joe Fortress or the
not
Death Star,
it's an action figure,
or the Canteen playset. Like you didn't really have a house for your little dudes. My mom would always talk about how she'd come home and she'd go up to my sister's room and like G.I. Joe would be like in Barbie's bathtub or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was like, hey, we moved in.
Just Airbnb.
But what I love about it, I love how like when she gets up and does her breakfast, like everything is plastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like when they have her like coming out of the house,
fits.
just floating down. Because like, nobody uses the stairs in a dollhouse, right? It just, or when she opens up the... one of the funny scenes, speaking of, you said beach, when Ken hurts himself surfing in the first third of the movie, and the pink ambulance shows up and they open the thing and there's like a medical office in it, like how the toy would work, right? You open up the back and then there's a stretcher and all that. I just thought, man, they nailed the whole concept of like Barbie furniture, Barbie cars, Barbie everything, and to bring that to life in full size human was just pretty cool to see.
I also like how they don't really spend a lot of time justifying the multiverse thing. Like they just, this is just how it works. Go with it. I mean, it's Barbie, folks.
Yeah.
I like when movies do that. They don't have to. Yeah, they treat the audience as if they've got some imagination in on the joke.
We're not going to explain it.
Yeah. Stick around. Talking Oscars nominations announced last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about them due to the film festival bumping our show. But we will keep the talk going right after this.
100 plus businesses, thousands of people, free parking, Main Street access. It's the Cache Valley Media Group Home and Garden Show presented by Anderson Seed and Garden at the Eccles Ice and Event Center, March 22nd and 23rd. If you are a home and garden business, from crafts to home building or excavation to emergency preparedness, this show is for you. Google Cache Valley Home and Garden Show or call 752-1390 for details.
Beezer Lock & Key specializes in securing your world with their expertise in locks, keys, and hardware. Every aspect of their services is meticulously tailored to ensure your safety. They offer a vast selection of hardware brands and access control options, along with custom master key systems. With Beezer Lock & Key, you have control of your facility's access 24/7. For 28 years, Beezer has provided top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North, 1st West, and Logan, or go to BeezerLock.com to discover more.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules. Hey.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan here in the studio. Oscars talk. We've got about
March 11th.
3 minutes left.
Get your Oscar parties moving.
March 11th.
Who's
hosting? Any idea yet?
We should do I don't know who's hosting, but we should do a contest.
They haven't announced yet.
We'll do a contest this year where it's beat Andy. If you can beat me.
I don't know. Weren't you like pretty close to
Perfect.
See, perfect last year.
Yeah. In fact, we have a trophy that we have at our house, and it's pretty much stays in my office all the time. My kids got it a couple times. My daughter was really excited one year when she beat me by like 1 or 2. You know the secret? I'm going to give you everybody a secret. If you have an Oscar party or you have an Oscar pool at work, if it's the movie nerds version of the Super Bowl, if you have this going on, my advice to you is it's rarely the big things that you'll miss. You've really got to get in and dive into the shorts and the production design stuff. The things that you are well, I don't know what to pick here. That's the stuff that you probably should focus on. If you can get those categories on the fringe, you'll usually do well. But that is March 11th, and I do not know if they have a host yet.
Yeah, they haven't really said yet. They
hopefully they don't do the Golden Globes did. Be 10 days before.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to do it?
That was weird.
I don't know. Yeah,
that was really strange when they did that. I thought that was a joke, and then I found out, no, that is actually how it happened. They just threw it out there as we need a host. What are you doing?
Yeah. I think, well, anyway, we'll keep talking about this. Next week, kind of one of the first big releases of the year, this movie Argyle. Have you seen the trailer for this?
The trailer was good, and then I saw a John Cena interview. And I don't think they should let him go out anymore to promote the films, because he discouraged me
from wanting to see Argyle.
I like him, but it was what he said in the interview. It just made me think, I've seen this movie a million times.
Well, and I'll be honest, from the trailer, there was a scene where they were doing some violence and things were exploding, balloons or fireworks, and I thought, this is Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah,
just being Matthew Vaughn. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm worried about. Which will still be pleasant, but I hope that's not all it is.
Yeah, I'm not super hyped, but that's what we'll be talking about next week. And maybe I'm wrong. I am wrong a lot. Probably, once every 10 times. Just kidding. More like 9 every 10 times.
That is, and also your review of Wizard of Oz, digitally remastered 80th Anniversary Edition.
Still scary.
In theaters here in Logan, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday only, if you want to see Wizard of Oz on the big screen. But yeah, that's the movie show for this week. Andy will be back with us next Friday at 5. Dave Ramsey will be with you in just a couple of minutes here on